Hey everyone, it is Junk Journal January day 4, and today's prompt is outline. So here's my plan. I really wanted to use some of these beautiful Vogue magazine images that I cut out, and this lady in particular caught my eye today. So I thought I would incorporate her. I have a page from my journal. My journal pages are not sewn in yet, so I just grabbed it out of the signature. I feel like it gives me a little more freedom to figure out what I'm doing each day, and then I'll sew them in at the end. But as you can see here, this is, part of a pattern page. So it's a little bit thinner, but I did confirm by holding this over the lady, very scientific measurement, that it appears she will fit. So she's going to go on the base page. So I was trying to think about how I can incorporate our prompt outline. And what I came up with is that I will cut her out first. Then I'm going to attach her to another one of these pattern instruction pages that I have on hand. Make this slightly larger so that it is an outline. Add some visual interest. And then to carry it further, I'll take that and use it as an outline. And I'm going to paint the background page in this navy blue color, which goes with my theme, which is navy blue and pink. So I'll have both of those colors represented. And I thought it might be fun to just take one of my stencils and cover up little bits of this page with the stencil and some gesso, just to give it some visual interest, a little texture, some heft. So I'm going to start off first by preparing my background page. So I'm just going to set these to the side for now. So to paint this, rather than using, kind of a traditional paintbrush, what I really like to use are these little mini daubers when I'm using a stencil. And I'm not going to do the entire stencil, I don't think. I'm just going to try to make this flow a little. So I'm going to just start off by holding the stencil down, daubing through some of these plants so that it, kind of just flows, gives a little bit of organic shape to the page. And with the neutral background, I think it'll, blend pretty nicely. And the sewing pattern paper underneath is interesting, but it is also a little bit busy, honestly. So this might help tone that down just a little bit. And then I'll pick that up and continue on, just doing, some different parts of the stencil. Again, trying to keep that organic flowing shape. The idea isn't to exactly create the stencil here. It's more just to add some texture and interest to this page. And I'll do the same thing on the other side so that, the theme sort of carries on to the next page of the layout whenever I go to decorate that page with embellishments. So a nice neutral background that will hopefully not compete too much with the beautiful navy pink images that I'm planning to add here. And I'll just continue on a little bit more. And especially because I'm going to work on this right side for my layout today, I am going to add a bit more of the textured gesso through the stencil to give it that heft, thicken the page a little bit and make it more accepting of the navy paint that I'm planning to add. So I'm going to leave this side more open because I don't really know what I'm going to do with that just yet. But I do know that this is going to be covered with, you know, images and glue and paint. And so for that reason, I think having more gesso on this side will be good. And, you know, I'm just kind of interested in making some interest here, some depth. And layering is just one of those techniques that I really enjoy for adding that kind of depth and interest to a page. Okay, great. So I'm happy with that. And because I'm in a very small space, I don't have a lot of room to have water over here today. So I'm gonna pause the video, go wash my hands and clean off my sponge before it gets too dry, and rinse off my stencil, and I'll be right back. I'm gonna cut her out. And one of the things that I like to do to make this a little bit easier is just to go ahead and snip off some of the bigger pieces. And well, because I'm a junk journaler and mixed media artist, I save all of my scraps. So I'm just gonna make some large scraps, toss those in the scrap bin, and then I will work on, you know, getting closer to her outline. I find it much easier to do the fine detail work if I trim off some of these really large pieces. It just makes it a little easier to handle the paper, in my opinion, when it comes to, you know, just sort of cutting out those finer parts. Okay, so I'm gonna go through and cut this out, and I'm gonna speed up this part of the video because it's not gonna be the most exciting. Okay, and I'm back. So next is I want to create an outline by adding a piece of this paper behind her. And I think I want it to look like she's sort of moving forward in space. So I'm gonna treat it like a shadow instead of having a complete outline. I don't know, just because, why not? Junk journals are my favorite place to experiment with art. If it doesn't work, it's junk. I can just throw it out. So I'm just going to decide, you know, what I think looks interesting. And I like the spot here. So I'm just going to use my handy dandy oversized glue stick because she's a very thin magazine image. So I'm going to go ahead and just add some glue to the back of her. Again, I'm just using this leftover freezer paper because I don't want to gunk up my whole workspace. And I learned that lesson the hard way. Okay, so now she's been glued. I'm going to grab her and then put her on here. So she's now secured to that instruction sheet. And then I'll go ahead and trim her out of here. And once again, I'm just gonna start by removing some of those really large pieces to make it a little easier to trim around her. And then I will have some more fun scraps to add to my pile for the future. I do love scraps, especially for fun collages. And I'm thinking that I'm going to make some faux washi tape later today, and so these scraps are definitely going to get used for that. Okay, so now she's attached. Again, I'm going to trim all the way around her front and then just leave a little bit of an outline as a shadow all around her. So I'm gonna go ahead and pause and then speed up the video again so you can see the final result without having to watch me sit and cut this out, because I am not the fastest at cutting. So now that little shadow background has been painted in the navy blue, it's dry. Not the best paint job, but I mean, again, it's a junk journal. It's fine. So the moment of truth, we're gonna take Our Lady and put her on here and see how that outline looks. If, you know, if there's any spots I feel like I really need to touch up to help it look more like an outline, I still have plenty of time to do that, but that's how it looks, and I'm happy with it. So let's go ahead and glue her to this page, and then we can look for any finishing touches that we might want to add. These edges just aren't glued all the way down because I try not to over glue. So if that happens and you have, you know, a glue that has kind of this precision tip, you can just peel up that edge a tiny bit and sneak some underneath as you're lining her up. Anywhere that you need a little extra adhesion. But she is going to look like she's sticking off the page a little bit because that navy blue gives it that nice depth and dimension that I really think does help her look like she's sort of popping off the page, which I think is a super fun look. So that portion is finished. I do feel like she needs something else, but I haven't decided just what it is yet. So I'm going to reach into my little box of bits and bobs, pull out a few things, and see what might be fun as some final touches here. And you know, the nice thing is I have space where I can still add, you know, like fun hidden paper clips or just write some journaling space. You can absolutely write over this gesso here and here. So that will leave me lots of room for my daily journaling when she's all finished. So I don't want to overwhelm the page, but I do want to make it look a little more finished. So let's play. Okay, as you could see, I just broke out some of my clipped magazine text and stickers and looked for something that I thought would just be visually interesting on this page and again, add to that depth and movement. And I'm really happy with what I found. So I'm really pleased with how this came out. I feel like it does have some good depth and movement. I do still have open space for adding things later. and I was able to incorporate the theme of fashion, pink, and navy. So yay, well done. Day 4 outline is complete, and I'm looking forward to moving on to day 5, where the prompt is depth. So I'll see you for day 5.